It is time to experience a different radio station in digital broadcasting WKIT. Pyramid One World Radio Network with broadcaster Bob Charles. Our programming is based on truth, faith, and love. We have studios in Florida, Texas, and Australia. So let's begin into subjects that change our perceptions about the world around you and I.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an evening you will not forget on the Jamie Clark Show, a view of humanity. Let's talk outside the box, or the other hand. In the boxes, this show is here to open your mind to subjects and solutions you have never dreamed were possible. Join us and call in with your questions to Jamie right here on the show. By dialing this number on your phone 609-663-0153. A question one of our listeners sent to Bob Charles was, please define the word spiritual. Thank you for the question, Bob Charles will try to answer, but Jamie Clark will take it from there. Spirituality generally refers to a sense of connection to something greater than oneself, which can involve a search for meaning in life. It often encompasses beliefs in a higher power or universal energy, practices such as meditation or prayer, and a sense of interconnectedness with all living things. Spirituality and may or may not be associated with organized religion. How can a psychic help you with spirituality? A psychic can help with spirituality by offering insights that may guide personal growth and self-understanding. Here are some ways a psychic might assist. Providing clarity. Psychics can offer perspectives on life situations, helping individuals see things more clearly and make decisions that align with their spiritual goals. Connecting with higher realms. Many psychics claim to communicate with spiritual guides, angels, or deceased loved ones, providing messages that can offer comfort, guidance, and a sense of connection to something greater. Energy healing. Some psychics perform energy work, such as Reiki or aura cleansing, to help balance and align an individual's spiritual energy, promoting overall well-being. Offering spiritual practices. Psychics may suggest specific practices like meditation, visualization, or affirmations that can enhance spiritual development and foster a deeper connection to the divine. Encouraging self-reflection. Through readings and consultations, psychics often encourage introspection, helping individuals explore their inner selves and discover their spiritual path. Put your hands together and welcome psychic medium Jamie Clark.
You know, Bob, and I think you bring up a very interesting point with that intro, and that is, for me, I always say anything and everything I do, everyone can do. Do you want to use those abilities, and what level do you want to take them to? You know, I always share the fact that we've all had that gut feeling of that mindscape picture that happens. I'm like, isn't that psychic? You had the information before it happened. And when we can at least just get a different perspective, not the only way, but maybe a different way of seeing things, then it moves from, oh yeah, that stuff, to, okay, you know, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, it's the first time I kind of see it that way. And my thing is, it's always good, and question everything, just be practical. And they'll usually come back going, I did it. And I'm like, freaking A, congratulations. And what else do you want to do? Because if the approach ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're like, oh. And I think we're giving love a different vibrational pattern, because love tends to feel like, oh, it's the airy fairy stuff and it's all. I'm like, well, that stuff is freaking real. And
Yep.
it's that kind of a dynamic. When you feel that energy of love, you'll have no choice but to go, I don't understand it, I just experienced it. And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up, one, to their intuitive abilities, two, that they're loved just the same. It is truly all about love. And it's that connection, as I share, unless you've had your own experiences as you graduate life, man, every time I merge with the oneness, it is like the best mood you've ever been in, the best meal you've ever had. Truly, my soul feels complete. Yeah. And I don't have all the regrets that I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I asked Chi, as I always share, my master guide, like, how is it that when I merge with the oneness, I feel so amazing and I feel so complete? Yeah, because most of us have, as humans, we got to make those life choices and learn to live with it one way or another and all that kind of good stuff, which is fine. But Chi,
Yeah, but you know what he said though. You know what he's saying. We're humans. We have a choice. We can go. Like, that's what he's actually saying. Because if you have a choice, you can go one way or the other way. You can be a total idiot or not. But look at Washington. They've been doing that for years. But I'm serious. I'm serious. You know, love, I explained it. Anybody that's listening to this, if you want a copy of what I wrote about love, trust me, I'll send you the music, the part with the music on it. It is maybe I'll play it at the very, very end.
I would love that.
Of
Please.
this, because I mean, it's one of these things that where, I'm up early, the mind is completely clean. You and I have been together with each other for years, okay? And I mean, I go through some of the stuff, some of the shows and things like that, and I told you it's more of an intuitive feeling. My mother was like your mother. My mother used to follow ghosts.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Really see them, talk to them, motion to the whole, her and her two sisters. There were three sisters. No, they were not witches. And it wasn't a coven. It wasn't a coven. But the idea of the thing was my mother was like that. She could feel things in people. And she used to always, I never knew what it was until I met you. Jamie Clark is the one that turned me on to this because I didn't know what I was or what I had.
And the good thing is it just needed to be shared, pointed out to go, oh, I do that all the time. And my mom does that as well. And then it moves into more of a solidness from the airy fairy stuff to go, how are you doing that vibrational patterns of information? How are you getting them visions or, however we perceive it, that are happening? Because I always share the fact that you could talk all you want, but if there's no validity to what you're talking about, whatever, your mom, like my mom used to see things and 2 hours later, that stuff was happening. I share the fact that in the beginning, I thought, are you making that happen? She was like, no, I'm just tuning into the vibrational patterns of all that kind of good stuff. So it was nice to be able to have her as my mom, because, you have a lot of faith a lot of times in your mother in this way. And I knew that she was genuine. She wasn't just throwing it out there to try to make everyone happy. It's like, it's what you want to hear. It's what you need to hear.
You know what, though? I'm sure that the people listening to you and I right now, what we're talking about, is saying to themselves, sometimes I, whatever. My mother, the one word that my mother used to use that I didn't remember until like years later, it goes in one ear and out the other. You know what I mean? She always said the word feeling. What are your feelings? How do you feel? What do you think? I mean, it was all had to do with feelings. And now, how many times have you and I been on a show? It's like a gut feeling. They call it a gut feeling, but half of it is like in your mind, you see something evolve before it does. Because you're looking, I mean, you're seeing in your mind a solution. So if that's intuitive.
And do you really think the universe doesn't always have a solution? All we needed to do was tap into that connection, to that information. And it's always playing for everyone. It's, do you want to choose to tune in, and what do you want to do to not? And I always share the fact that for me, I don't know, nothing for nobody, but a lot of people tend to equate feelings as the same thing as emotions. And I share the fact that to me, exactly, they're not the same.
Two separate, two ball games.
Well, and that's a big thing because to me, emotions are great, but that's the language of the soul. The feeling is the language of the soul, actually. And it speaks to us in volumes because you could feel all you want, but if you don't get a solid outcome as to what's manifesting, whatever. And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize that those feelings are possibly a little different than emotions. Because I would say for me, emotions are happy and sad and good and bad and relative and all that. And emotions or feelings are the language of the soul. And those feelings are vibrational patterns of energy on your soul nubs that you can feel one feeling and it will speak volumes to you. And those feelings are a lot of what people are starting to reconnect with again. And it moves it from the airy-fairy stuff to, okay, I've had that kind of an oddball thing where I kind of felt like someone, I was thinking about something and then they just call. I'm like, isn't that psychic? Right? Weren't you feeling it before they even called? Yep. I'm like, well, that's perfect. That's how subtle it is. This is so natural. It's supernatural. Everyone has the ability. Yeah. Do they want to use it and what level do they want to take it to? And you, like me, getting the blessing from me, growing up with my mom, who was an amazing psychic medium, it gave me the opportunity because she would take me to church as well, which was beautiful. But as a kid, I was hearing the preacher talk and I was like, and she's like, wake up, don't irritate them. And so go to Sunday school. So I started doing that. But for me, just for whatever reason, as much as they were beautifully sharing, I felt like there was so much more. I felt like so much more. So a lot of times what we're told or shared with, we'll tend to accept as the only reality. I'm like, well, there's that and so many more. It's how do you perceive it and what level do you want to take it to? Do you want to realize that you're empowered, not disempowered by making these choices of love,
that's
connection?
That was very good. That was very, very good. I mean, that kind of says the whole thing right there. Like, which side you on, pal?
Yes, it is love, truly.
They had a thing. I know everybody out there is going to laugh their butts off. I got this thing, of course, at my age, right? I got this thing for prepay your crematorium. Your cremation. Yeah, you can prepay it. They have a free lunch. I'm serious. This is Florida, man. This is weird. But it's like they have free lunch, and you do this like hour thing when somebody gives a presentation, everything else, whatever. And I'm looking at this thing, I'm saying to myself, people don't realize how really almost truthful some of the things that were in the thing was. Look, this body is a piece of crap. It has no worth whatsoever. Trust me when I tell you. Just like I could speak to my mother if I wanted to right now because she's still here. The energy is still there. My father is still here. Why? Because the energy is still there. The body, who needs it? You can always get another body. No big deal. You can be born again. That can be happen too.
See, I think you bring up a very interesting dynamic for myself, and that is on mediumship. Notice how a lot of times, almost every time, our loved ones will come through, they'll come through as to who they were in this particular lifetime.
Exactly.
To me, we're eternal souls. We've always been, and this is not, to me, the only physical body you've been in. Yet familiarity, comfort is, when they come through with this, here's that person, here's my loved one, here's grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, whoever it is. And when they are able to allow themselves more comfort to tune in and less fear and trepidation to go, because like I do, a lot of these movies will freak people out. And there is a lot of validity to a lot of them, but again, some of it is just for entertainment purposes. And that kind of connection, I feel like is starting to click with a lot of people. They're starting to realize, well, maybe, just maybe there's something more than just this life as a human. I'm like, man, we're eternal beings. And what the average person doesn't question for me is if we're eternal, because I'm into that quantum physics and all that good stuff as well. And I believe, I share the fact that I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but I believe that they found that energy are humans, basically vibrational light beings. And with that definition being energy in quantum physics, they found that energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
Destroyed.
And I say, but wait a minute, that means in a very scientific methodology that we are eternal and we have always been. And yet they perceive this universe has only been here 14.8 billion years. Yeah, we may not be from this universe. I can only speak for me, but I will guarantee you we are not originally from this universe. And then it moves from, to, scientific methodology, systematized, categorized, repeated. Okay, maybe there's something to it. That's why I always say, please be skeptical, question everything, just be open.
Have you ever heard me call this like a petri dish?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's it right there. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, they send the souls over here, go over there and let me see what you do, and that's about the size of it. And then they go back. And don't forget, you do get a review on the other side.
Now, here's the thing, because that brings up a very interesting dynamic for me. And that is a lot for me. I share the fact that for most of my life, when we have that life review, I'll be sitting there looking at a big old screen in front of me and these experiences will happen. And I'll put my value point to either yes or no or whatever the good stuff is. And I share the fact that there was a time I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there. And I still don't know how this is possible. But that quickly, I became everybody I ever interacted with, felt every single energy exchange and came back to me with the words, how'd you treat yourself? I'm like, oh my God, that stuff's real. And then it moves from the airy-fairy to the practicality of spirituality. And when we can realize that we are eternal beings, it's just universe, God, he, she, it, nothing, 0 point field, whatever you want to call it, it's just a label, is always for us and never ever against us. And so sometimes they'll perpetuate different perspectives that you have to be good and you can only do good things. And I'm like, well, which is a beautiful aspect, but sometimes those don't always happen for us. And we'll get in a reactive state to go, I feel like it's life happening to me rather than realizing it's happening because of me. And when they can start to realize that, okay, so I'm giving, to a certain extent, I'm giving permission for these experiences to happen and all connected with whatever way, circumstance, dynamic is being presented. That's why I always say, please question everything, just be open. That way we get that practical scientific methodology to go, well, there you go, now systematized, categorized, and repeated, could be something to it. And more people are starting to wake up because with those airy-fairy things, I'm also, as I share the fact that I'm on a specialty team of psychic mediums, and again, everyone has the ability, but I do a lot of scientific studies and research with Gary and Rhonda Schwartz at the University of Arizona in Tucson.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so we're connecting and working on the technology of what they're calling the soul phone. To me, it's a dimensional frequency modulator. We are the soul phone. But getting that scientific methodology, the ability to physically connect and metaphysically, oh yeah. And my thing is once we're connected with our loved ones, what about all the other channels? What about all the other dimensions, all the other universes? Again, to me, a lot of people don't question. I'm like, God, please question everything. That way we get the practicality. And when we can question things, but get some kind of a response or information that we feel for us is appropriate, then we're able to lock that in and keep going. Just a lot of people don't understand what's happening, and that can be very scary for a lot of people.
Maybe I'm too old to get scared. I don't know, but when you've gone through a lifetime, it's like, okay, it's like, yeah, you want to do that? Go ahead, do it. I don't care. But I'm serious. Like when you talk about the soul phone and things, that I'm serious. If anybody wants to, if they want to try that thing out, I want to be first.
That is the point. The other side, our loved ones are so excited. It's just our limited awareness. That's it to me. It's that kind of connection that it is all interconnected. But if we can have the technology to connect and make those communications, okay, it's a little bit more solid than the airy-fairy going, oh, it's just spiritual. And it's like, well, it's not always easy for us. But a lot of people are starting to wake up to their abilities to realize, one, to me, everything is spiritual and life is relative. Because I always say, for me, in the relativity, we as humans are extraterrestrials to everyone else. And I always say, aren't we right now living on the other side of where we come from before here? That means we must have died, or could it just be a shift in consciousness, vibration, or patterns of energy? Mm-hmm. And that scientific methodology, this stuff that I'm doing at the University of Arizona, is becoming more practical. And when we're able to manifest that technology, the beings, and in this case, some of the humans that are helping us to manifest this technology is brilliant. It is going to move from the airy fairy stuff to go, yeah, sure, other people, to go, oh, it's all interconnected. It is the ocean of consciousness. The ocean is the droplet. The droplet is the ocean. If it's too much to accept, stay a little droplet, because I'll guarantee you never do. I always share the fact that to me, if you think that you stay that little droplet all the time within the ocean of consciousness, I share the fact to go, well, tell me that you can't take a big glass of a bunch of droplets of water and then just take one drop of iodine and drop it in, and it will merge, it will blend, it will connect with those structures of water. You okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm trying to see something in it to see if somebody's coming in, but they're trying and it's not working. It's on their end.
Weird. Lately, the technology has just been offhanded, oddball, crazy stuff. I share the fact that just yesterday I was having a number of appointments, but the computer, for whatever reason, it wasn't freaking working. I'm like, what the flag knob?
Yeah.
So yeah, thankfully Maggie, my beautiful wife, Saint Maggie, she's a freaking saint. But we were on the line, on the phone, with the ability of the technology for about an hour, and they're looking from who they were as the providers of this service, and they're like, we don't understand why things went down. I'm like, yeah, but freaking it did. It went. I tried not to get frustrated, but it was interesting to see that this technology is having a variance of connections, because what wasn't happening before is now starting to open up and happen now.
You're forgetting one thing that's going into this technology. That's AI. And AI, by the way, is an energy brain wave.
That
it's its own
than humans.
Right. It's its own little grain of salt that could be put into a program, and it goes, well, that's not working right. I think I'll fix that. And well, that line over there. Wait a minute, that code? No, we'll put a dollar sign and 2 commas in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. It can change things behind your back without you even knowing it.
I will just say, I can only speak for me, but there are, every time I do remote viewing and all that good stuff. Every time I tap into the time frame of the mid 2030s, by that time, AI will be running this entire planet. It has no emotions connected to it. It's just information that builds upon itself and then gets more of the equated, knowledge.
Let me tell you what bothers me about something like that is there's got to be humanism somewhere. It always has to be a human touch someplace. So when AI turns around and says, "Oh, go sit on it, boy," when that happens, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble, because then we're veggies.
What if they're aware of that dynamic, but still perpetuate that direction of creation?
Oh, by the way, what happens? That's good, but what happens if they do grow a personality?
Isn't it interesting? Because with that knowledge, and if they acquire themselves to perceive themselves as self-aware, that's kind of like we as humans are trying to do, is become self-aware, or go, man, it's always happening. It's what value do you place upon it? And I think that can scare a lot of people, for the most part, when they realize that AI isn't necessarily a human emotion. It's matter of fact, here's the information, 1 + 1 = 2. There's a very practical aspect to it.
It's all logical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all logical. That's what it is. Like what I'm thinking is, like the human brain has like I don't know, like 2 or 3 trillion connections in it. So every single one of those connections are the size of the pin, the point of the pin. So those things are all inside the brain, and that makes the nerves work. And of course, that's part of the the different parts of the brain that remember and things. Okay, so now you take that AI, and let's compare our brain to theirs. Well, theirs is a computer. There are computers right now that have 3 trillion connections. So that beats us 2 to 2, actually. So, okay. So that brain is bigger than ours. So then when the AI learns how to use that whole brain, that's when we're screwed. I don't care what
And that's a very interesting dynamic because that's a big fear for a lot of people. And isn't it interesting that we as humans in this case have created, as we perceive it, AI, artificial intelligence. And yet through that creative process of the human concept, it's even more effective or smarter as we perceive it than humans are, because most of us tend to live in an emotional state of experience rather than just the information and the facts. It's we have our own intertwined as we perceive validation of reality or not. And in that, there is going to be a lot of major shifts in the world production. And I share the fact that for me, just for myself, that 2029 has a major dynamic connected to it. My thing is every time I keep tapping in and doing the remote viewing, by the mid 2030s, I keep picking up that information. To me, whatever this experience that's on the horizon for us as humanity is not going to completely obliterate us, because we wouldn't still be here if that were the point. So for myself, it's that ability that these technological advancements are only the evolution of consciousness for us as humans in this way. Just in this case, we're very emotional about things, and that tends to be a very good catalyst of consciousness to go, I'm feeling this. Like, yeah, that's great. Just light it up, relax a little bit. And if we can learn to do the best we can with where we're at, what we're aware of, and keep going, now it becomes more empowering, not disempowering.
Yeah. There's what I also wanted to remind people that are listening, because I know there are some. I'm looking at my graph down there, and there's a lot. But anyway, those people that are here, there is a telephone number. It's 609-663-0153. You can call in. You can speak to Jamie one-on-one right here, right on this show. Or if you're chicken and you don't want to use the phone and your fingers are broken and you can't go, you can use text. You can use text at 863-222-4199. I'm looking at the screen right here.
And look, that technology is bringing us together.
Yes.
We're going to call in through the computer internet. Like for me, my awareness is like we have the internet, we have the Ethernet, or in this case, the universal web, like we have the internet web. And us as soul prints of consciousness, like we have an IP address on the internet web, we have a soul print address on the universal web, never lost and always found. All of this information is already within us. It's what does it take for us to bring it to the surface of consciousness, maybe question things or go with it and see what this information can help us with if we even choose to open up. And I think that a lot more people are starting to open up to go, well, I don't understand all that stuff, but I guess with that AI stuff, that's a computer, right? So that's not someone telling me that's
but it's not. See, that's where people are screwing up. You just said it. They say it's a computer. No, it's not a computer. It is not a computer. It's an entity of its own. This is originally it was written into a code. That code expanded itself. So now they're writing codes to shape it differently, or to put different things in it, or to add something, an option to this, and you can have this and whatever. But once that core is developed, it develops itself. It improves itself. It can also screw up you really, really bad. But on the other hand, this is something that was taught from the beginning to be a help to humanity. That was the original plan of this thing. Now, if it keeps remembering that, the way the codes went on this thing, fine. If for some reason I don't know, crazy comes in and says, oh, no, I want to change that guy's change, and makes his own AI, which then gets in touch with the other AI. I mean, that's like Israel and Iran. You know what I mean? It's like two people have different ideas, think they war with each other, but don't know how. The AIs will find a way.
Yep. Yep. In a practical sense of information, not the airy fairy. And it's again, whatever works for us. But a lot of people are starting to, okay, now what's this religion aspect? And what's this spiritual stuff? And I'm like, God, thank you for questioning everything.
That was that question, yeah.
Yeah. And when
what's spirituality?
Well, and that's the dynamic is, to me, I always share that for the spirituality, one, everything is spiritual. It only holds the value that we place upon it. And not only that, as a spiritual being, an eternal being, it's also that dynamic that allows us to be who we are and what we do. That's why everything is allowed on this planet, good, bad, happy, sad. I'll guarantee you that there are people on top of the hill with everything and everyone, and people in the street with nothing and alone, and everywhere in between. It becomes the catalyst of consciousness to go. If you're tuning into that, you're going to have that play in your life experience.
There are so many people that believe that spirituality is like this airy fairy thing, you know, kind of thing. And I said to them, I said, no. I says, well, are you talking to me? They said, wait a minute. What do you mean by that? I said, are you talking to me? That's my question. Why are you talking to me? They said, well, yeah, I want to talk to you. I want to interact with you. I said, that's spirituality. I said, we are doing this to the universe around us all the time. Do you know that you're sitting in a universe? She goes, yeah, there's stars. I said, no. Here, right here, not there, here. And you are your own universe. I said, you control your universe. So if I turn around and tell you that you can't do that, you're going to turn around and the first word out of your mouth is going to be, why? That's the universe talking back.
Yes.
So I said to her, look, I said, you know, I said, we get people who do all kinds of different things. I said, we get married, we have kids, we have businesses, we have cars. You know what I mean? I mean, let's face it. I got my van. My girl, you know, is out there. I mean, that's what the way it is. Because I'm that crazy, I want to make it a girl just to hell of it.
And right.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, all these things I said that you're doing, I said, these are different parts of the universe that you're bringing into yourself. I said, they're not out there. They're part of you. Why did you tell me that it was yours? Because you own it.
But a lot of people, the pattern's been perpetuated that it's outside of you. You need to get, and that's fine if that works for you. But to me, it's all within, just like you're sharing. Yes, it is a reflection of consciousness. And when we realize that we're all the universe is us, I can only speak for myself, but not only is it, you know, I feel complete and all that good stuff, but that I've had that experience where I am the universe is me. It is truly all one, as unification, not separation. And in doing that, I think that that's starting to push a lot of people's buttons. And again, it's whatever works for you, because there's as many worlds as there are perceivers. Yeah. Yes. And when people can, in their own way, whatever that might be that they perceive their reality and how we've gotten here, where we're going and all that good stuff is perfect. Allow other people their own perspective. All we're going to do is just share one perspective that may be different, not better or worse, but different. Mm-hmm. Sometimes from that different vantage point, it's like, you know, I've read that crap 1,000 times, but click, it's the first time I kind of see it that way. And my thing is, like I say, grade it, question everything. And when they can be practical with this spiritual stuff, it moves it from the airy-fairy to scientific methodology. So systematized, categorized, repeated. So how's that working? Because people have a lot more comfort and empowerment to realize, to go, well, maybe I don't know everything. I'm like, anyone claiming to know everything is ignorant. I always share the fact that I do know that the more I know, I don't know nothing, man. But I'll share my perspective.
I'll tell you a quick one. One of the guys that didn't work. And he's a newer guy. He's been there for about 6 months or something. I'm there for almost 7 years. So, you know, forget it. Don't bother me. Okay. One of these things. So anyway, he goes through, he goes, what, how come he says, sometimes he says, I see you and your eyes are staring straight ahead, or you look like you're just staring at something. I said, I'm not really staring. I said, I'm thinking. So he goes, what do you mean by thinking? You know, it's like when I tell you what I do in the morning, the morning the meditation, and that I'm walking the dog and I'm having meditation at the same time. I'm walking, doing it awake. But the thing was, what I was telling him was, what I was doing was, when you saw my eyes like that, was in my brain, I'm taking everything in this whole place, putting it together, putting a number on it, and I know what I'm going to do next, the time after that, the time after that, the time after that, the time after that. And I said, if you wanted to time you doing it and me doing it, I bet you I could do it twice as fast. Because logically speaking, I'm putting everything in perspective with each other. I'm putting them all in one ball. Poof, that's it.
It's all relative.
And by the time I'm all done, and that I can spend an hour sitting down if I wanted to. You know, I'm done so far ahead. We've got like 3 guys there. I'm going to be 74 this coming up, and that so 3 guys that are in their 20s, 20, 21, 23, something like that. These guys, all 3 of them, can't beat me. Can't even come close. What I do in the morning, they do on my day off. Okay? When I do it, we open the doors down there open up to 10, so I'm in there at like 9 o'clock. From 9 to 10, I try to get as much as I can done, so that if an order comes in or something like that, it's I'm there. My hands are free. Every time I do it, the whole thing, whole store in an hour. That's it. All these guys never get anything done before 1 o'clock. On my days off.
That's when they start asking you, Bob, what are you doing? How are you doing that?
That's what he did. He asked me how come my eyes were like that, and I told him. I told him what I did.
I was cross-eyed.
I said when I hit something that has to be done, I said I automatically look around. In the first 1 minute I walk through the front door, I can tell you what has to be done. 1 minute. And if somebody like one of the managers, one of the guys, the franchise owners, and that is a friend of mine. In fact, he actually hired me that many years ago. But, it was funny though. We walked in the door and he goes, okay, what's your feelings? See, there's the word. And I said to him, okay, feelings. This. And I have pictures of them on my cell phone. I actually took pictures of the thing. And I said to him, now, this is what wasn't done before we just walked in the door, and it should have been done yesterday. But it'll be done before we walk out the door for lunch. He goes, no. He says, you're crazy, but not that crazy. I said, okay, look, go ahead, go to the next door, whatever else to come back. So he did. He came back, it was all done. He goes, come on, you had help. I said, who?
See, that's when it gets real to go. It moves from, talking about it to, all right, how did you do that?
I'm going to say that we can all do that.
Yes.
I mean, you do it. I know you do it in your life. You do it. I know Maggie does it too, because I can see it in what she does. She's very fluid the way she does things.
And down to earth. Yes, I love that.
Just goes through it. Every single person, and I've said this a billion times, and I'll say it on a podium if I have to, on a mic in front of a bunch of people. Every single person can do what I do. Everybody. My mother did it. My mother taught me how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, man. I was doing things that were impossible for a 2-year-old to do. I was doing when I was 2.
What if that was part of the connection? Right. You felt comfortable. This is your mom. You have an idea of who she is. So she's sharing or experiencing. You're like, okay, so what's that stuff you're doing? Okay, so how's that working? And when they can share and we're openly receptive to go, well, I don't know. I'm just kind of still new here as we perceive it. And you're having those experiences. And as I'm growing into my adulthood, I'm starting to see the very natural abilities that you've always had. Not everyone understands.
That's where I am comes in. That's when you take everything you learned when you were born to the time that you thought you knew everything. I mean, let's face it, we do get that part. Somewhere's around 13, 14, somewhere's around there. But, you take all that information, everything else, and now it's yours. It's your responsibility. Everything is you, not them. Somebody's not telling you what to do because it's theirs. They're telling you what to do because it's yours. It's not theirs. It's your job to do. It's your life to live. It's your life to love. It's the people around you to make part of your life. All of them, not one or two. And don't care. And but this really, really drives me crazy. And just between you and I and the rest of the people that are listening and watch this thing, racism and me don't make it at all. If you breathe, have body parts, feet, hands, brain, it works. Bye bye. You're my friend. Period. End of story. I don't care if you're purple or green.
See, that's the
Would be
point.
good.
Exactly. I'm right there with you to go, to me, this human body is only a vehicle. Doesn't matter
Right.
what color you want to paint, it's whatever works for you.
No.
It feels good for you. And when people can start to give themselves permission to go, oh, so you're not seeing me the old way that people are seeing me. I'm like, hey, who are you? Do you realize
Right.
how amazing you are? And when they can realize that there is no color challenges, because for me, man, we're all equal. It is all one. It's just like the colors of the rainbow. All of those different colors as we perceive it are brought together to create that one rainbow. That's the point. It is all love, as crazy as it is. And I've got the rainstorm here now hitting me. So if you hear any thunder or lightning,
Don't worry.
I'm not going to
Don't
hear
worry.
it.
I got you.
Thunder, yeah, we're good, man.
Yeah, the thing that I was going to say was, you know, as I say in the thing that I wrote about the world, the love, and I thought very very heavily about what I was just talking about. It's to love. There's sex and there's being appreciative of a person, like somebody like you work with or something like that. Like, thank you very much, blah blah blah. Right? That's in a sense that's a love in what you're doing to with another person. Or you got the love maintenance. The love maintenance is the part where you bring the flowers or you bring the thing or you do the job and for somebody or whatever, and to the best of your ability because you're doing that to show someone that you care for them enough. And that is love. And
This, a lot of times it's the actions of another that will, okay, if you're willing to do that, then maybe there's love kind of thing.
yeah,
Realizing it's all within this out to me. This outside experience of life as we perceive it is only a reflection of what's going on the inside.
exactly. That's why it's all a feelings. The whole thing. You buggle it all up. It's all the same thing. All these idiots to turn around and say to you, well, you can't do that because, and what, because what? Why can't there is nothing I can't do. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, if I try something and I fail, that's not because I'm bad at something. It's because that particular thing is not like what was built for me.
I was just going to say, in your life experience. So,
Right.
what if that's a little bit of reality as we perceive it, that those experiences that happen for us, not just to us, but for us, are a self realization to go, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Because so many of us lovingly will tend to give the power to other people rather than realizing it's all from within. Because on average, people will do this. You make me happy or you make me angry. I always say, you don't make me anything. I make myself. Right, exactly. Happy or angry in response to that dynamic and experience. And I always say, if I keep getting angry at that, I'm going to quit bringing those D-bags into my life. Otherwise, I'm the ignorant one.
Exactly.
And yeah, when people can see whatever belief system works for you, good, because it brings you happiness, it brings you fulfillment, it brings you the completion and the growth of your soul awareness.
A lot of times, I mean, it happened to me in all the years that I was, let's face it. I mean, just like all of us, we all like this all the time. That's the way our life goes. We have ups and we have downs. And if you and somehow or another I managed to do it, but it was I didn't know I did anything until after it was done. But you keep thinking about yourself and going forward. You never ever look back. Look back is a memory. That's
And
good.
it can be
And
a
it's history.
frustration. Right.
Well, well, it's also the foundation of what makes you who you are. Even if it's bad, if it's good, if it's beautiful, if it's, whatever, as all these things get put into your library upstairs, your library at any one time makes a reference to that library to what you're doing right now. Say, I'm going to go play basketball. Well, somewhere when I was a kid, and that I fell so hard on my butt. I'm telling you, man. No wonder, I swear, no wonder I wasn't black and blue. Only because of the way I took a shot. And a few weeks ago, and that we were out by a thing, and that, and I figured, well, let me take a couple of, whatever, do the thing. And then I remember it came, bam, right into my head. And that, don't do it this way. Because now my butt would be all by like 4 foot wide if I hit the ground hard enough. so it's like, and I have no butt, so figure that one out. and I was laughing my butt off because, like, at that particular time, I found out that in a millisecond, all the stuff that was in the library went, oh, page 101, you lose. Hey, these are things. These are things that we have to, not must. I hate that word. We have to remember ourselves 24/7.
But I think that that's the dynamic as people are starting to find more of themselves within life. And I always say it takes a lot of guts to now become that inner space astronaut, discovering who we truly are, which is everything. It's all one. And then you do enough for the scientific methodology, systematized, categorized, and all that. Okay, maybe, just maybe there's some of that spiritual stuff. I'm like, great, just something to think about. Not the only way, just one way out of infinity.
There's one thing that's in there too. Inside of ourselves, we're all givers. All of us. Every single one of us. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what you did, what you how many tattoos are on your butt. I don't care. We are all givers. And we are all carers. We care for people we come in contact with. However, do you know we have to work harder to think differently? We actually have
smarter.
No, we have to work harder to turn around and say, "No, I don't like that guy because." Sounds like it comes really, really fast out of your face. Let me tell you something. You thought real hard in a couple of seconds. Before that, you opened your mouth.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because if you had not said anything, then there would have been no interactive except for, hi, how you doing? Shake my hand, blah, blah, blah. Let's do this. But no, you made a decision. That decision was a job. So why do the job, man? Excuse the expression, but it sucks. So, I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yes, sir.
That's the way it is. I mean, it's like if every single person, and this is what the people who listen to the thing on the TV said. If every person that walks this earth thought the same way they said you do, we'd have a whole different planet. I said, I've been saying that for a long time. Did anybody listen? No.
However, you're able to share that different perspective to give sometimes a person to think a little differently, to go, if that were the case, then I might do, because it becomes that dynamic that, as I always say, to me, there's as many worlds as there are perceivers. And it's not always easy to hang into your spirituality and whatever that means for you, and to be able to share that. Because a lot of times as a human, in this case, we tend to get very competitive. I'm going to be better, or I don't want to be worse, or, whatever the case is. And when we can realize, just do you. The universe loves us unconditionally. That means there is no conditions. You just have to be you. Good, bad, happy, sad, however we perceive it, completely loved and accepted by the universe. It is amazing. And you have those experiences firsthand. It's like, I have no choice but to go, I don't understand it. I just experienced it. And having the ability to question everything, because I always am questioning things, but getting that solid validation to go, even though I didn't understand it, I did just experience it. Okay. Now it moves from the fear of what we don't understand to the empowerment of self-realization. You go, maybe there's more than what I thought there would be. Like, right, just be open. Just be open. Not the only way, just maybe one way. If it feels good, check it out. If not, don't.
I always tell people, you are fantastic. All the time. All the time. You're fantastic. I don't care whether you believe it. I do.
What do you think the universe knows?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. You're
Right.
a reflection of who I am. There's that I am. Not I was, not I will be. I am.
I am.
Exactly. That's the empowerment of creation.
Let me play this thing in it before we get out of here. We got a couple of minutes. So, and by the way, once you listen to this, anyone, I mean anyone, anywhere, I don't care where it is, I'll get a copy of this to you. Just write to me, and on the top of it, you just put "A woman wrote." A woman wrote. That's how I got the idea to do this, because a woman wrote, and a woman to me is like number one.
Yeah, beautiful.
But don't say guys are number two, because I'll smack us all.
A listener of one of my shows on Pyramid One Radio sent me a question. She said, "What does love mean to Bob Charles in the world?" Here's my answer from my soul. Love is a universal language that transcends all boundaries and cultures. It is a sentiment that has captivated the hearts and minds of people throughout history. But what does love truly mean to someone like Bob Charles? And how does his perspective resonate with the world? For me, love is not just a fleeting emotion, but a deep, abiding connection that shapes his entire outlook on life. He believes that love is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built, whether between partners, family members, or even strangers. It's a force that can transform lives, heal wounds, and bring people together in ways that nothing else can. My unwavering belief in the power of love has made me a sought-after voice on the topic in many questions we receive on the shows. As people from all walks of life seek to understand and embrace this profound human experience. Through my words and actions, I've inspired countless individuals to open their hearts, to embrace vulnerability, and to see the world through a lens of compassion and understanding. Ultimately, my message about the true meaning of love is one that resonates deeply with people around the globe. It is a message that reminds us of our shared humanity, our capacity for empathy and kindness, and the transformative potential that lies within each and every one of us when we choose to love. From my heart, I love you all and the world we share together. Bob Charles, Pyramid One Radio WKIT.
And I think you bring up a very interesting point, because I'll talk about unconditional love and those dynamics, and people are like, unconditional love, what is that? I'm like, exactly. Have you ever seen a newborn baby, or have you ever seen a puppy? Because more than likely you accept them exactly for who they are, where they're at, and what their potential is to grow into. And people are like, well, of course. I'm like, that's the point. It's so natural. It's supernatural. They just needed to have it connected with how they perceive things, because sometimes they don't know what they're necessarily doing. They're opening up to go, yeah, that love thing, sure, whatever. And then when they can see the practicality of spirituality, then they'll give themselves more opportunity to, maybe open up to things or not, depending on whatever works for them. But the good thing is it's the empowerment of self-realization. Whatever works for you, that's great. Does that work for you? Perfect. Because in the end, what we're going to do? We're all one. There is no separation. That's why, to me, I always call it, we're a cosmic family, because it's all one. There is no separation with anything.
And, you could also say, in a sense, and not be wrong, I don't think, that love is part of the dimension you're in while you're in it.
And beyond
there.
it, yes.
It's always there. It's a component of that particular part or parcel of time that you're in. Now I sound like Paris. Of time. But you know the idea of, oh baby, don't get me going. But I'll do that on my other show. But the thing that I mean by that is, a dimension is something that passes, and it passes all the time. I mean, it could be passing right now, or we're standing here. It could be going right over us. It's another form. It's where we are, soul wise, somewhere else at the same time. We can be anywhere. We can be on another planet. Maybe I'm there right now.
You are.
I could be. So all of these things that make up this universe. When I say love is a bigger word than LOVE. LOVE really means everything, everywhere, every time. Now, if you can put those two together, or those three together, and that means that it's you, baby. not
realize how perfect we are as beingness.
Yeah.
Because in the universe, we come from love. It is all about love.
Yep. And so many people. I mean, I get, boy, I tell you, man. Some of the mail I get is oof. But you know, it's nobody hates me, so it's okay. I mean, they hate everybody else.
But look how you're getting people to open up to at least either question or ask questions about things. Mm-hmm. That's huge. A lot of people, no, I know everything. I'm like, well, okay, if that works for you, that's great. I have nothing to share.
On the new show, though, if anybody wants to tune into that one, anybody can come on that screen right there, or the phone, or the text, but the screen.
And what's the show?
Now talk. Now talk. The reason that I named it Now Talk is because people are too busy hiding their feelings. That is the biggest thing, the biggest fault that people have when you hide your feelings. Come out and say what you mean, for crying out loud. Like and believe me, I'm not trying to be political here, but Trump is the only guy that turns around and tells you what's on his mind. Everybody else beat around the bush, and you never, ever get a straight answer. Trump, if you ask him, and I know his sister, so hey, she's the same as him. If you ask a question, you will get the answer. And no matter whether it's good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the answer. Yeah. So that is the way every single person that's walking on two legs should more or less, how would you say it? Center everything around what they're thinking all the time. Then this will hear you can't be wrong, you can't be right. You were neutral. So if everybody's neutral, hey, okay, something comes out of it. Like for instance, I got this car and it's a convertible, but I want a 4-door. Okay, so you get a optional, you get 4 doors. Is it the same car? Yeah, same car. Just 2 more doors. That's it.
Because you added on to it. That felt good for you. Yes.
Exactly. And like it's, life is like, well, for instance, this one guy made this inference, and it was kind of funny. He said, everybody's a car. And he said, some of us are trucks. But he said, the ones that are trucks are still trucks. But he said, we're all the same. So I said, okay. And I knew it. I knew the answer already. But I said, okay, why? And because 2 other people listening. And I said, okay, why? He says, because we all have 4 tires. Now, what connects you? What connects you to the ground? 4 tires.
Those tires. And what does it do? Possibly gives you traction to go down life's highway of experience. And
forward, backwards.
Yeah, exactly. Side to side, whatever it is. Because I always equate us in the human body as like it's a vehicle. I always share the fact that I'm not going to park my vehicle in a cemetery in this case, because I don't need to. I am the ash keeper for my entire family. And so it's a great dynamic when we realize that maybe there's more than what I was aware of. Because when they can hear people like you who are intelligent, who are just saying, hey, here's one way to maybe you can perceive things. Not the only way, but one way.
One way.
Sometimes people just need to know, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, I kind of get that one. And I'm like, good, and keep going. And when they can realize that the only aspect of good and bad is how they perceive reality, that which is in harmony with what we're wanting is good. That which isn't is bad. It's very relative to me. It's all one.
To close. How would you like to close it? What's your I don't know.
To be open for the growth of humanity into the awareness of oneness. That this is just, for me, just one planet of creation. We're not the only beings that live on a planet. We're in kind of what they call the Goldilocks area, which is you're not too far, you're not too close, you're just right from that particular star, in this case the sun, as we perceive it. Mm-hmm. So it becomes the alignment of what works for you. Because when people can see that, okay, you're not telling me I'm bad or negative and I don't understand things, it's you're sharing your own way and I'm getting my own perspective of what you're sharing and how I feel with that information. Wait a minute, there's those feelings again, right? That is a huge dynamic. Because I say for me, feelings are the language of the soul and vibrational patterns on our soul knobs. Words are the language of the mind and nothing but mere vibrational patterns on our ear knobs that we train ourselves to hear. Those patterns imply a meaning. So I say with any other language, what does that mean? Same thing, different vibrational patterns on the ear knobs. So it becomes the old adage, a rose by any other name is still a rose. It's just a label, not the object of connection. Oh, yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, really.
Just something to think about. That's it.
Let's just to simplify so that everybody understands, because believe me when I tell you, that was like, oof. We are all together. Now, however you want to put that word, you can do whatever you want with it. Together means together. We're all here. You're sitting at your desk, or you're sitting at watching your computer. You're listening to us on here. The guy next door, he may be watching this TV. The guy next door to him may be doing the same thing. But we're all in the same place at the same time, all breathing, all moving, all hoping, all thinking.
What if that's universes? All living, all believing, all thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Think.
Yes.
Meanwhile.
Always good, brother. I love and respect and appreciate you. Thank you, Bob.
I tell you something. I can't wait to be on with you when we're out. God, could you imagine if the two of us were standing next to each other?
Yeah, as things move along, those opportunities are going to open up, and that's exactly right. Oh, we can do this together. It is case separation.
There you go. Don't forget, God bless you all. Bob Charles. Out!